What's up, guys? This is Jay. It's been a while since I made my last Slayer video, guide video, so I decided to make a new one. Not a lot of things have changed, so if you guys watch my old one, then you don't necessarily have to watch this one. It's for the new players for trying to play, or just trying to build a Predator Slayer. Okay, in this guide, um, okay, guys, basically. Fundamentally, Predator Slayer is supposed to be a full swiftness class because the efficiency of your crit and spec stat is not that great. But however, recently there was a patch on Predator Slayer, not exactly Predator Slayer because it was actually a patch that was focusing on Punisher Slayer. What happened was that they increased the spec ratio for the class. So the spec stat became better for the class. So what I recommend you guys to do is to buy the class engraving ring on spec stat instead of swiftness stat. The reason being is that if you were to buy the class engraving ring on swiftness, this is a swiftness ring. Predator class engraving. Let's look for mass increase. It's about, yeah, it's freaking expensive, right? Look at how much it is. But that's +5 Predator, so that's why it's cheap. So no one's gonna buy that. So basically, it's so expensive, man. 100 quality is 300k. Even the blue qualities are expensive. Oh, there are some cheap ones. But these are all +5s. +5 Predator, +4 Predator. So those are useless ones. We go for spec. It's a spec classic. Wow. See? 100 quality spec classing spec with a +3 Predator plus engraving ring. It's only 20k. So it's way cheaper. And yet, I've been playing Predator class with a 1 ring to spec for a year now, and you do just fine damage with this build, just fine. The idea is that since you can still get the maximum movement speed and plus attack speed with your identity plus your support. Give the rest unnecessarily swiftness to spec. That's the idea. So if you guys wanna save a lot of gold and yet still do the same amount of damage, I recommend you guys to go for one spec ring. But if you wanna just build the Predator Slayer as like everyone else, then just go for full swiftness. Either way is fine. But I recommend 1 ring to spec. Alright. Relic set plus elixir. Of course, since you'll be doing a lot of back attacks, since you have to do back attacks with this class, you have to go entropy. And since you will have very decent crit rate, self crit rate, you go for the damage increase when you crit elixir. That's the one that you have to look for when you're cutting elixir for your slayer. Next up, engravings. Forget about that. It's Grudge, Ambush Master, Raid Captain, Mass Increase, Predator, and Adrenaline 1 is way better. It's way better, but I'm currently using Ether Predator because I have a high grade precise on my bracelet, which gives me 5% crit rate, and if I were to use Adrenaline 1, then I'll have 95% crit rate, and then they'll lead to overcrit, 5% overcrit when I get 10% crit rate synergy in my party, so that's why I'm using this. But Adrenaline 1 is just way better, guys. And your gems. Volcano Eruption, damage and cooldown. Final Blow, damage and cooldown. Mountain Claim, damage and cooldown. Fierce Claw, damage. Guillotine and Brutal Impact, both of them damage and cooldown. But you have a choice here, guys. You don't necessarily have to use Mountain Cleave. If you want to have more stagger and then want more part break, then you should use Fatal instead. But Mountain has slightly higher DPS, so it's your turn. Alright, moving on to Tripods and Runes. Furious Claw. 3/1/1. And I'm using Focus Rune here. If you were to use, you can use Judgment Rune here if you go for full swiftness build. But if you were to copy my build with 1 spec ring, then you will have to use Legendary Focus. And Wild Rush, that's level 4. I'm currently using this as level 4. Guys, if you guys are planning to follow my build as it is, then don't use this as level 5 because you'll be moving way too much. Level 4 is just enough. And you have a choice here. And you can choose to use this instead. Then what happens is that you'll be traveling less distance. But so this fire, this will help you keep your identity duration. So this is your choice. So it's either you get to your enemy fast and then start hitting to keep your identity, or you can move less, but automatically keep the duration of your identity. So when you pop your identity, so this keeps on going down, right? Start hitting the boss. You can make it last longer. So this is your choice, guys. This is your choice. But I'm using this because I feel like I get into situations where I have to move farther. So that's why I'm using this. But this is a major pick though. A lot of people use this instead. So this is your choice. In Final Blow, it's 3/1/2. And I am using Legendary Galewind here, guys. Oh yeah. For Wild Rush, I'm currently using Fast Recharge, but when you do a con, you can use Purify here. So you have a choice. You either use this tripod, which does less damage but shorter animation, then you can use Conviction here. But if you're planning to go for 1 spec ring, then I recommend Legendary Galewind with this tripod instead, because you're going to need to buy some time until your cooldowns come back since you're not full swiftness. And the thing about this tripod is that your animation becomes longer, but you do more damage. And one more thing is that you move slightly forward, but with your AOE, with increased AOE. So if you're in a position like this, then you can just use your skill to move and do back attack at the same time. Keep this in mind, guys. This is important. And Wall Stomp, that's 11. You should give it Legendary Bleed because when you use this skill, this is an important skill because this is your counter, this is your synergy skill, and this is a very easy way to keep your identity last longer. So this is like your Alpha and Omega skill. So if you were to use this tripod on your Wild Rush, then you should work on this tripod. But this is not. This tripod does not have high priority because you don't give a damage gem on this skill. But if you use this, then don't work on any of the tripods here. And you should give Legendary Bleed because it resets your bleed. Just like that. Easy way. Sorry. Easy way to keep the boss bleeding, guys. And Mountain Cleave. If you want to use Mountain Cleave, you should give Legendary Galewind and then 2/1. But if you want to use If you want to have extra stagger plus one more part break, then you should use Fatal with 2, 3, 2. This is your choice. But what I want to tell you guys is that Fatal is a bit more popular choice. So keep that in mind. But the reason why I'm using Mounting Cleave is that Mounting Cleave has higher DPS than Fatal. You know, the thing about Lost Ark is that, personally, I think it's all about damage, because even if you do, like, one more part break, no one's gonna thank you for that. No one's gonna thank you for that. And part break is not a factor that is considered to be in the family picture at the end. So, and yet, as a Predator Slayer, you already have enough stagger. So that's why I'm using Mounting Cleave, but it's your choice, guys. You can use Fatal instead. That's perfectly fine. And I actually recommend Fatal because it's a more popular build, popular choice. In Volcano Eruption, it's 2, 3, 3, and Purple Gale Wind. And these 3 skills, guys, is the strongest skills you have for Predator Slayer. So work on the tripods, work on these tripods first. And Guillotine, it's Legendary Focus. It's 1, 3, 1. Brutal Impact, Purple Gale Wind, 3, 1, 1. And moving on to rotation. Pop your identity, lose your synergy first, and then Guillotine, Mountain as a pair, Brutal and Volcano Eruption as a pair, and Furious Claw and Final Blow as a pair. You don't necessarily have to use them as a pair, but this will be better because these two and these two and these two have similar cooldowns, so it'll be easier to do damage this way. But of course, you won't always be using these as a pair because, you know, sometimes you have to get close to the boss, and you might have to use Final Blow to like follow, or Volcano Eruption to follow. So you don't necessarily have to keep the cycle, but if you do, it'll be easier to do damage. And also, guys, I recommend you guys to try to use Final Blow at the end because the animation is kind of long, right? So you don't want Final Blow consume too much time. So you use it at the end so that the other skills wouldn't wait for it to be finished. Okay. And about Awakening, if you take this Awakening, guys, if you use this, then you immediately refill your meters to the full. So in like raids, like Guardian Raid, where you don't want to waste your Awakening potion, then you take this Awakening. But if you want to do more damage, then you take this. In Legion raids, you take this. But one more thing, since this one has level 2 part break, if you feel like your part break is not enough even with Fatal Blow, then you take this as well. That's your choice. That's something you should consider too. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching the guide. Hope you guys have a lot of fun playing Predator Slayer. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you so much for watching the video. Bye bye.